A man who dares to waste 1 hour of time has not discovered the value of life. The love for all living creatures is the most noble attribute of man. If I had my life to live over again, I would have made a rule to read some poetry and listen to some music at least once every week. Animals, whom we have made our slaves, we do not like to consider our equal. Ignorance more frequently begets confidence than does knowledge. It is those who know little, not those who know much, who so positively assert that this or that problem will never be solved by science. A republic cannot succeed till it contains a certain body of men imbued with the principles of justice and honor. Animals manifestly enjoy excitement, and suffer from a null and may exhibit curiosity. A man's friendships are one of the best measures of his worth. It is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. We stopped looking for monsters under our bed when we realized that they were inside us. Man tends to increase at a greater rate than his means of subsistence. Great is the power of steady misrepresentation. My mind seems to have become a kind of machine for grinding general laws out of large collections of facts. A scientific man ought to have no wishes, no affections, a mere heart of stone. False facts are highly injurious to the progress of science, for they often endure long. The very essence of instinct is that it's followed independently of reason. Man selects only for his own good, nature only for that of the being which she tends. As for a future life, every man must judge for himself between conflicting vague probabilities. If the misery of the poor be caused not by the laws of nature, but by our institutions, great is our sin. An agnostic would be the more correct description of my state of mind. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, not the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is the most adaptable to change. Man in his arrogance thinks himself a great work, worthy of the interposition of a deity. More humble, and I believe truer, to consider him created from animals. A man's friendships are one of the best measures of his worth. Intelligence is based on how efficient a species became at doing the things they need to survive. Conscience looks backwards and judges past actions, inducing that kind of dissatisfaction, which if weak we call regret, and if severe remorse. The highest possible stage in moral culture is when we recognize that we ought to control our thoughts. Nothing exists for itself alone, but only in relation to other forms of life. To kill an error is as good a service as, and sometimes even better than, the establishing of a new truth or fact. I am not the least afraid to die. It is those who know little, and not those who know much, who so positively assert that this or that problem will never be solved by science. He who remains passive when overwhelmed with grief loses his best chance of recovering his elasticity of mind. I love fools' experiments. I am always making them. Ignorance more frequently begets confidence than does knowledge. I have always maintained that, excepting fools, men did not differ much in intellect, only in zeal and hard work, and I still think there is an eminently important difference. A mathematician is a blind man in a dark room looking for a black cat which isn't there. We are always slow in admitting any great change of which we do not see the intermediate steps.